Hi, welcome to my channel. This channel is against astronomy, a current view of astronomy. But in this video I will speak about the philosophy of mathematics. So I say that we can go to the stars, okay, in this generation, and we can colonize the planet and do the other things. But if you know, I cut some videos like this and exactly with this tool, and I comment them, and this but it's not so much for me in this to comment, but to intersect. Like, okay, do you see they are speaking about belief. John Lennox video is like a tribute. I've told you, he never says that teaches mathematics. He never spoke about mathematics in deep manner. Like in the mathematics, the basis of mathematics, you can find the basis of belief. And I comment a video like it has 1 hour and 44 minutes. Okay, I like very much the interviewer. Is very smart. I study philosophy. He always cites a philosopher like Wittgenstein and Kierkegaard and many philosophers, okay, and all the video. So I will comment. So I will comment the entire length of this video if you watch part from it.
A.C. Grayling wrote a very good book about Wittgenstein, the philosopher. But yeah, Wittgenstein said that you cannot explain a system from within the system. You need someone from outside the system in order to be able to explain it.
Yes, Wittgenstein's statement is extremely important. And in fact, Jonathan Sachs takes that up in his book. But I must be fair to your question, Samuel, and come back to Harari and the future, because it's actually important. You mentioned his 2 agenda items that are, 1, to solve the problem of physical death, and 2, to enhance human abilities and capacities and essentially produce a superintelligence. This is what's known as transhumanism. And in my own University of Oxford, they are driving this forward. There are millions of dollars being put into this area of research, by the way. This is big stuff, and artificial intelligence is very much a part of it. Now, we could go into details, but I'm not going to, because I've actually written a book about it called 2084, Artificial Intelligence and the Future of Humanity. But I will comment on these 2 things because they fascinate me. Because when people come to me and tell me about this wonderful agenda, we're going to solve the problem of physical death, and we're going to enhance human intelligence and give people some form of eternal life, possibly upload their brains onto silicon so that they won't be dependent on biology, which perishes and dies, and all this kind of thing. I simply look at them and say, you're too late. And they say, what do you mean you're too late? Well, I said the problem of physical death was solved 20 centuries ago when God raised Jesus from the dead. And that proves that death isn't the end. But it's also solved your other desire. Because Jesus, raised from the dead, is the Son of God. And he was raised from the dead because he died. Why did he die? He died so that there would be a basis for God to forgive us for the mess we've made of our own lives and those of other people. And if we trust him as Savior and Lord, he promises that he's going to upload us, not simply our brains or our mental capacities, but there's going to be a physical resurrection in the last day. And I said, I'll go for that rather than transhumanism, because I think there's much more evidence to back it up. So they're too late, but they need to hear that message, because they're not getting it. Not at all, as far as I can see.
Okay, if you saw that, you know that is the way I make my videos. If you see me by now, if not, subscribe. It's about mathematics. I made already 1 and 2 more on this video. So like 30 minutes already. I cut all of it and inserted in my video. And I comment, and you will see some comments. But now this is about philosophy of mathematics. So this is the way I make my videos, if you know. So about metamathematics or philosophy of mathematics. So I retake some points from the first video to explain to you that the more rational edifice and more perfect that they are saying. You know, in philosophy, a guy demonstrated that it is not like a logical corrective one, and it's a demonstration like a mathematical, that it is not complete, and the most grandiose and logic-like and in step-like manner, I wanted to tell you that it is like a belief. Because all the video, if you see at least half of it, they are speaking about belief, what it is belief. And this is the antinomy that they make, like science versus religions. So science, you see, is this belief, is not a belief-based system and things like this. And I wanted to tell you that if the mathematics is full of beliefs, then all the scientists that are... But I have many scopes. I cannot explain them to you. You watch it and the motives will intersect in your mind. You will see, okay? So what I've missed, if you understand, I'm speaking about a mathematical point. And I'm telling you that at the basis of mathematics, all the Kant principle categories are supposed. So you have from the first place a mistake by saying that you do not suppose anything. You see, hypothesis non fingo is like a stupid thing. Like you believe that Newton did many things, but you do not, because he was an Englishman, you do not know that at the same time worked like with him Leibniz, and nobody says that they have two different equations. And if you know this, E equal kinetic energy. Okay, so let me tell you, like, so hypothesis non fingo. But you see, everything is a hypothesis. Like everything is an axiom, is a belief, and I want to show to you again this stuff. Okay, so what is the method when you are teach something, no matter what the science, psychology or things like this, they are behaving like in a crazy manner, not knowing philosophy. The philosophy was the basis of all these modern scientists. It was in the old time only one, like Saint Paul says, that to go from a philosopher that try to trick you, okay, because that was the science, the real science. So, but this philosophy break in many domains like psychology, and they took a little bit from philosophy, and now they are pretending that, but this big heavy science, and nobody made nothing, only inventions from science, but it are keep or to trick you, okay, this edifice. So I want to demonstrate that the geometry. So if you know, there was another kind of thinking like Platon time, like thought philosophy from the basis, from elements, from concepts, from ideas, he said, some forms. But this scientific pretends that you do not suppose beliefs, and it is more like from Euclid, like he was the who was thinking that you can somehow make a edifice from elements. You see, you name elements from some elements, and what it is the mistake from elements. You see, you do not know what a definition is, like and they trick you in school. Learn this definition. You do not know whether subject is not contained in a predicate, and it's pictures of mental pictures, and they try to trick you that in a deductive reasoning manner you go from some small steps and you demonstrate bigger, like theorems. You see in mathematics there are axioms, okay? So axioms is the first proposition of belief, but what you do not understand that from some pretend axiom in a step-like manner, they imply a theorem, but a theorem, they say, is somehow deductive. deduction is like deduct. So okay. I make philosophy, okay? So that I'm against school even. You see on the internet better stuff than at schools, and I'm against schools. It's time for us to demolish all this stuff. They take you prison 12 years, okay? So I will tell you better stuff than even they tell you at schools, okay? They are tricking you and they give you like you are a big man, like 11 with 7 years, you have 19 years, and they give you notes like 5, 6, and on America A, B, C. Like you are a grown man and they give you no. So I'm against school somehow. And if you understand my channel, you understand the science is wrong. So they do not have what to teach. Maybe only music and sports and things like this, like they don't do in America. But they are stealing jobs from you, pretending like you see you have the engine invented by the guy who did not have even 8 classes, and then they steal the job from you because they pretend that somehow you do not know the pressure per volume. You see manifested by the exploding gas in per volume. When you ignite it, produces this force, Newton force per meter square, F. So they are lying to you. And the guy who made the motor, they do not exceed the speed on the they were like Formula 1 car racing. They did not exceed the speed from 1900, 1800, 1900, Charlie Chaplin times were speeding cars, okay? So and they are lying to you, this stuff. You see the angular momentum of the wheel, you see already in a Clark Maxwell book, he was motored by steam engines. And if you read it from a book, he already tried to explain through physics. Like, so you have this power. I say Maxwell did this kind of stuff. Okay, so to trick you, that is. So you make from some steel cutting machines some tools and some like before Christ they knew all the tools that we have, okay? And then they superimpose these 12 feet of school of your head to lie to you, and they not having any criteria. So I'm against school, okay? But so I demolish this, if you understand the edifice, the geometry. So if you now let's take another break. You see another part from this video. I intersect all of it. 1 hour and 44 minutes, and I'll make few videos like until it was going to be finished, okay? So I will take on mathematics then after this introduction, let's say a big introduction. So watch another part from the movie.
I think the resurrection, as you say, is hugely important for Christians, and that's a miracle. And again, David Hume said that in ancient times and in the past, people would believe the miracles because they didn't have a good understanding. They didn't understand natural laws, which is, I'm not sure if you agree with that. But he also said that miracles are a violation of natural law. So what is your take on that? And also, what evidence is there for the miracles and the resurrection?
Well, my ancestry is Scottish, so far from me to criticize a Scotsman like David Hume, but he was wrong. And I say that not because I'm a Hume expert, but the most famous Hume expert that I ever met was Anthony Flew, a philosopher, who all his life championed atheism like Richard Dawkins did until he came to see that the cell and human DNA was a code, and it spoke of intelligence. And I had an interview with him not long before he died, and I asked him, I said, what about David Hume and miracles? He said I was wrong, and he made one of the most humble statements I've ever heard from an academic. He said, my books were wrong. I'd have to rewrite them, and I'm never going to have the chance. But let's come to the substance of it. That's just a little story. Miracles, violations of the laws of nature. That's where the confusion lies. Law has two meanings. for most of us. They're the laws of nature. What are they? They are our descriptions, often in mathematics, of what normally happens. The apple dropped falls towards the center of the earth, as Newton pointed out. The planets revolve around the sun in elliptical axes. But then there are laws that say you must not drive in inner London without paying a congestion charge. And if you don't pay it, you're going to get clobbered. That's a different kind of law. They get totally confused. Now, Lewis, as usual, in his wonderful genius, he went right to the heart of this in a most brilliant book, which most people don't read because they get stuck in the third or fourth chapter, which is quite difficult. They should leave it out and go to the next chapter. But Lewis tells this illustration. Here I am, I stay in London overnight, and I put £50 in the drawer, night one. Night two, I put another 50 in, so that's £100. I'm leaving on day three. I get up in the morning, and I find a £10 note in the drawer. So what do I conclude? That the laws of arithmetic have been broken, or the laws of England? Well, you're laughing, because you see, I conclude the laws of England have been broken. How do I know that? Because the laws of arithmetic have not been broken. Do you see? It's the fact that the laws of arithmetic hold that tell me that somebody's put their hand in to what I thought was a closed system of cause and effect, but it turned out not to be, so a thief could put their hand in. So that has helped me enormously, because it really knocks Hume right out of the ballpark. It shows that the confusion lies in the nature of our concept of law. The laws of nature are not like the laws of England. Now, here's the slightly ironic thing. In order to recognize a miracle, and the word miracle is slightly unfortunate because it's Latin, miraculum is a wonder. What we're talking about is supernatural events that give evidence that there is a supernature. Not everything that claims to be a miracle is one. If I say it's a miracle that Jim passed his exam, that isn't necessarily supernatural. It's because he was a silly nitwit and didn't do any work. You see, so we need to focus, and that's why I focus on the resurrection. This is the central claim, that Jesus rose. It's supernatural. It's not simply that Jesus rose as if it came from inside the grave. It's God raised him from the dead. It's power coming in from outside. Now, take a simple analogy. If I pick this up and drop it, the law of gravitation will tell me it falls towards the center of the earth. That will not stop Samuel catching it. He can intervene and stop it. And it doesn't break the law of gravity. It changes the configuration of the situation. So, at the larger level, God created a universe with regularities in it. If he hadn't done it that way, you wouldn't have been able to recognize a miracle if you saw one. If we didn't know that dead bodies normally remain dead, we wouldn't be the least bit surprised by resurrection. And the interesting thing is, it answers another thing of Hume's. Hume said, and you put it in your introduction to the question, that in those days people didn't know the laws of nature, didn't they? When Joseph was told by his fiancée that she was pregnant, he didn't know where babies came from, did he? So he believed her. No, he didn't, because he knew exactly where they came from. And we read that because he was a righteous man, he wanted to divorce her quietly. He didn't want to expose her to public, because he knew exactly what the law of nature was. And it took a special intervention of God speaking to that man and saying, Joseph, this is okay. This is holy. I'm behind this. The man born blind in John 9, it's a wonderful story. It's actually a humorous story. They said to him, well, you weren't the man that was blind, or you weren't born blind, and all this. And he said, look, let's cut all this out. Since the beginning of the world, it's never been heard that someone born blind has received their sight. So what has happened to me is unique. It must be supernatural. Of course they knew the laws of nature. And therefore Hume was wrong on both those counts.
So if you watch from this conference or another part, okay. So now I want to tell you again the rational process supposes categories. So categories from Kant is the unity, the totality. He said that you can derive it from logics. Okay, in logics you have proposition, and he says there are two kinds of proposition, like analytic and synthetic proposition. One of them, the predicate is contained in the subject, like you are saying, like somehow in an analytic manner. As this is defined in the subject, the predicate, or okay, how do you want to see it? The subject in a predicate, I don't know. There has a relation, some piece of connection, okay. And he said that another kind of propositions that the predicate is not contained, is added. It is this unity of subject predicate. So this is so in the logic, all the kinds of the way you can have the proposition, logical proposition, you have these signs. You see the implication. A implies B. This is a basis. A implies B. This is a basis. You see here A implies B. This is a basis of causality. The causality, if you know, is already metaphysics. You see, A implies B. Is something is the antecedent or something, some event happened before another event. And so Nietzsche says the cause is not something that pushes and pulls until the cause is produced. So now if you understand this single fact, you'll understand that the world has, you can observe causes, but the cause is metaphysical cause. So from the start, you will know how to fight with these guys that they reduce all the world, the universe, at a something, something like everything is energy, like from a Big Bang crash, like for in a geometrical manner, and something with a principle. So everything's energy. This is a kind of reductionism. And you will catch him exactly with this from logic. A implies B. The causality is indeed like a concept in categories of Kant, but in reality is made with a metaphysical concept. So what I'm telling you, the way of philosophizing, like to make philosophy like to try to reduce the world at a single cause, like initial cause, and this cause pushes and makes itself and manifests in geometrical manner and makes everything, is false thinking. Because the causality is indeed a metaphysical principle. You observe this in A implies B, but there are many ways of causality in the world. So you observe a phenomenon, a physical phenomenon manifesting with an antecedent, a precedent, or something like this. It A implies B indeed, and you recognize in another part another kind of causality. This causes A, causes B, and C causes D, you see. But you suppose now that because it is this unity of gathering everything together, like a reductionist manner to say causality, this is a concept, but it is a metaphysical concept. You see, now you are trained like children to infer everything from a single proposition, from E equals C pairs, box X pairs, right? Like stupid things like this, you do not understand. So what this means? It means that there are some causes, but nobody in this entire world connected all the causalities between them. And they are lying to you with this gravity stuff. What is the principle to unite of the causalities in the world? They do not have any. E equals mc square, like the connecting mass, energy, and light. You are stupid if you watch my channel to understand that you cannot do this. But what this is implying is that there is a mind that knows metaphysics that made the world. And he made not through a single thing, causality things. You see, if even they will try in the future to trick you, understand that this is Anaximena, Anaximandro, Anaxagoras, Thales from Milet, and guys like this reduce everything as one principle. Like in a childlike mind, not understanding the causality in the world is multiple. But this is implying something, that there exists a mind who have multiple properties, multiple principles. You cannot reduce them and he knows exactly metaphysics. Metaphysics supposes this and implies be a logical mind. You understand this? You can. And when all the times in the future when they will try to trick you that from a single original space-time point or something, from a single substance, like, they cannot do this in the entire philosophy, to reduce at a single substance that pushes itself and manifests and rotates. This is stupid philosophy, like old time, like before Christ, 400 years before Christ, okay? So this is the causality, one of the, if you understand, multiple causes. So that's why you understand now in the Bible God speaks many times. It is stupid for you or not, but he makes some matter a beautiful matter, and he knows that is a metaphysical one. And you must modulate inside it using the intellect, because this matter is predisposed to these metaphysical arrangements. So only a mind that knowing some stuff and to add some stuff can manipulate it. So you see, that's why the Bible speaks many times. This, to avoid this monocausality, God did not say from it does not have some power to make at once, like this was a saint in 300s after Christ in Greek. He said he has the power to make like this. Why in 6 days? He could make this like this, all the universe, all everything. Because you see that Solomon says that you made some matter without phase, and like a prior matter, infinite matter, you do not know how it looks. It is somehow infinite. It is somehow capable to pre-create it, okay? So I am telling you, because these heresies with a Big Bang will go soon. I'm telling you, the stars are close. So you see, there is a matter without a face, is predisposed to be manipulated like plastiline by adding a synthetic, and only you must have the power and a metaphysical mind, okay? So you put on, you see this three-dimensional space, time, x, y, z, okay? And you are believing that everything reduces to geometry, not knowing that there are some properties like a color is. You cannot reduce everything to geometry. To see that's a geometry defined by a time. From A to B, some geometry entails red. You see, you forget that the properties in the world. So how many properties do you have, like from eternity, because they are not space-time properties, to put in a matter, and with a mind that it knows metaphysics, that something is before another thing. And you see, that's why they do not understand that the Trinity implies the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, because one it is always before. You see, and this you do not understand. This is exactly defining like a metaphysical mind. One must be the cause. One must be birth, and one must be like you see, like the spirit. Okay, so this is a way of telling you how the world is made through the likeness of God. You see, like he knows, like it, and you cannot mix this to say that from B it is A, and you see it is something, you see, must have some properties, okay. So this is okay. So now some causality, okay. You have multiple causality, and I explain to you this thing. It is a big stuff, you know, because this is a way of how we make propositions. So you must have a metaphysical mind to know causality. Then what in the physics? What in logics is like and okay, and B. You see, it's the same metaphysics, like Kant says that there are 12 categories from logic. You report them in metaphysics, like unity, totality, causality, relation. You understand? So there is a relation between A and B. Do you understand now? The relation is not pulling and pushes until the B is obtained. It's metaphysical, like, and you cannot obtain a single principle reductionist relation between A and A, B to define it like some property relation. This is the relation. Look, it is metaphysical and could be infinite. You see how many types of relation you have between A and B could be infinite. This is the relation between the father and son, or the metaphysical principle, and how many you can have to think about, to have concepts and things. You see, A and B, like, it is the same, like how it connects through this end, you see, in logics, but it is metaphysical, like you have this and this. There's no relation. They're trying to trick you exactly like this. There's no relation between this and this. There's no relation. There's no, with this you can make phone calls. It's an old phone, okay? Then you can emit light, and this you can write with it. So now if you suppose that like it's bullshit, like a scams, like a scam. This has mass, this has mass. You can see this, you can see this. This have spaces from came from the Big Bang. This is if you understand, by violating some logics, A and B. It is A and B, but there's no connection. The only metaphysical mind can put two things together with no relation. So now I can trick you inside the language. How do I want? Because I say this is true. It is true. I say some proposition like A and B. A implies B. You see, and I say like, I can trick you. Okay. But now there's another one. A or B. You see, I've studied philosophy. I've told you, like theoretical philosophy. A or B. You see, like now this is like a disconnect. You choose A or B. Some of them, okay, you choose, but it is some kind of relation of between A and B. You have or this A or B, like or this or this. Or this is true, or this is true, or you have this. So all of these kind of things are metaphysics. You see, I've told you, like totality. This is a totality. This is everything that it is. All the parts that it is composed from. The totality is, this is the totality. You have a universal totality. You have now the being. You see, where is the existence? You see the difference between being. A exists, B exists, C exists. You see the same now. You see, you understand the predicate are not added to the subject, like so A exists is not A existence. A is some property somehow does not exist. You see, this is a supplementary added thing, existence to A, existence to B, existence to C, but the particular mode they are entails them different. So now the being, you can say that is a totality of existence. So what you predicate about A, B and C is being. Existence defined in a particular manner. So you see that even existence is like, that's why they trick you, like with God does not exist. You cannot know the existence like in a being manner, because you know like a totality of existence, because you know the particular existence. A exists, B, C, D, but you have infinite properties of infinite ways of attaching existence to it. So the totality is the being, but you do not know how many properties does have this being. Okay, so it is unknown.
So John, I want to come to the issue of the wording and the definition of apologetics, because that's exactly what apologetics does, just what you did just now, explaining miracles and explaining the rationality of faith. But apologetics has nothing to do with being apologetic It comes from the Greek word apologia, which means giving a defense of something. But at the same time, the second point I want to make, John, is this. Apologetics seems to explain things, but does that limit Christianity to only the things that we can demonstrate and explain apologetically? So what is apologetics, and what are the limits of apologetics?
Well, as you say, apologia is defense. But it's interesting if you do a word search to see where it's used in the New Testament, and it's mostly used by or about Paul. And his number one apologia defense is, I was on the Damascus Road and I met the risen Christ and he completely changed my life. That was his main apologetic. And that's why I don't like the word, because it sounds like an apology. We should have translated it. All we did was take it straight out of Greek and transliterated it. But it's much better. I think Peter May's explanation of it is the best. It's persuasive evangelism. And the most persuasive thing about your experience, if you're a Christian here tonight, is your experience of Christ. So it's not just a question of reasoning. Although reason is involved at every level. Of course it is. Reason and faith are not in opposition. You need reason even to read the Bible. People get very confused about it. And one of the reasons for that confusion is they think that they call me an apologist. I don't like that. I try to persuade people and I use argument. But the key to the effectiveness of that is that when Paul stood up and reasoned in Athens and reasoned everywhere else, and the Lord did it all the time, Paul was using his abilities, but he wasn't trusting them. And the danger for Christians, often with a high education, is that they start to trust their reason and they use God when they get stuck. Real Christianity is to use our reason and all the abilities he's given us, but to trust him. That's the key, it seems to me. And that solves a lot of difficulties. And we must beware that the arguments are all important, but we trust God. And if we're trusting God, we'll know how to move and detect whether questions are genuine or not. Many are. Many people simply need the stones out of the way so they can see clearly what the gospel is. But in the end, God is not a proposition. He's a person. Christ is not a set of propositions. He's a person. So that what is being offered to us is a relationship of trust with a person. That's a huge thing. A relationship with the one who created the universe. And that for me is the biggest thing. And in this world where it's being attacked left, right and center, we need to know not simply what we believe, but why we believe it. Because you cannot open your mouth in a multicultural, pluralistic society like what we've got here without people misunderstanding, misrepresenting, or simply just being curious. And we've got to answer. Always, said Peter, be ready to give an answer to people, an apologia to people who demand a reason for the hope that is within you. But do it with meekness.
Okay, so let me continue from where I remain. So you see the being, you do not know how many properties does it have, and a property is not space-time property, if you understand. If everything, it is a thing, the logical thing, if everything that it is a spatial, it is spatial, everything it is spatial, you see, so a space-time like. So it isn't space-time, but they trick you with this because in geometry you have the property to make small and bigger thing. So in this manner is the Big Bang, a trick for children. You see, there's no, the red is not totally space-time. It is in space-time, but it is not space-time. You do not understand. So it is not in space-time. It is in space-time, but it is not the space-time itself. You understand? because the space-time is defined like in a geometrical manner, like you have right angles, you have figures, you have movements in geometrical manner, you see. So in this way you understand, you set three-dimensional space x, y, z, and you make this mathematics like equation, and you use like this A and B and logics, and you forget totally that you cannot reduce them. They are in this chamber, put in the wonderful way, but in a metaphysical manner, but you do not deduce them from the Big Bang. They are here, but you cannot deduce them. So the property is not geometry. A property is not totally defined through geometry. It sits in a geometry, you see, but it is not geometry. The color, all the properties like this. So if you understand how many properties, so this is why the trick is the spatial trick. The Big Bang is a kind of spatial trick. They try to make this from all times, like from Parmenides, moves, it not moves. The being, you can divide it infinite, so it not moves. You see a line, you divide you see this is from Axioms come. Democritus said the first, only from Greeks. You forget, you do not know this, you are treated in the same manner. Can you divide at infinite? Or you have a dimension like this is like a part of quantum mechanics, like to trick you, like quantum mechanics is wrong, okay? So if I'm telling you that the atoms do not exist, you do not understand what I'm telling you. Democritus understood that in mathematics you can divide at infinite. You have a line, you divide it in half, and 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 half of infinite. So if you want to go from a point to a point, you have an infinite steps to go in another point. So in infinite steps, how you can make it in a finite time? So it appears some trouble, you understand? So that's why they invented atoms, not like in the physical manner, like you are saying, like in this current day, okay? So now if I'm telling you that the atoms do not exist, atom is a geometrical undivisible unit, okay? But if you have the infinity of geometry, maybe they are like they are put in like in infinity of geometry. So if you have a line that is infinite, like from A to B is infinite, it is infinite, exactly mathematics, like 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, so from 1 to 2, there is an infinite number. You do not know the simple stuff from mathematics. So now with the properties like infinite, it is space like that is put in infinite space. So how small can you make a picture, as in a mechanical quantum video about computers? I've showed you the computer. How small can you make a picture? How small can you make a picture? If you define it like mathematics, you have this square, like it's infinite. It's infinite, if you understand. And how small it is in your mind. You can suppose that from A to B tends to infinity, to 0. You see, from A to B tends to 0. So it is a square, but tends to 0. It's not 0, but tends to. It tends to, like in an infinite step-like manner, tends to 0. So you have the smallest picture tends to 0. You can put it in a mathematical point like this. So you see, it's a discrepancy now. Can you have a material in the world that is not, like Democritus said, with atoms, like have a dimension? He supposed, because he's saying, showing the difficulty to have a continuum infinite space. He was saying no, so we must have some measurable small things, many. Because he was seeing that you cannot have only this to measure something. You must have a bigger one to compare them and to cut them in half and to have a measurable, like in a triangle. You see, you must have 3 different sides, you see, to measure. It is not enough one, because you must have have the concept to breaking in a line and breaking like here. So you must have. So that's why he supposed that it's a few atoms, like not undivisible atoms, like property. You see. So but these have dimension, and some physical atoms, like you are saying, like in a Mendeleev, atoms from Mendeleev. Okay. So these atoms from Mendeleev, they are finite. You can measure them, okay? So if you understand my first video, you are using the continuum infinite mathematics to measure something that is dimensional finite. And it is a proportion, like you say, the electron has 1.0 square power of 30 minus bullshit stuff like this. You invent it, okay? So this, this picture could be infinite small, like a point. In a point, tending this square to tend into a point. All these sides to tend into a point is to be infinite point. So now if you have a circle, let's say you want to inscribe pictures on it. Let's take another. You want to inscribe pictures on this circle, okay? So you have a circle like this, but the points are squares that tend to infinity, small infinity, tend to zero at infinity. You see the difference, if you understand. They tend at infinity to zero. You understand? But not nothing, because the reality must be something. Okay, not tending to nothing, to zero. It's a different kind of nothing. Okay, so now you imagine this like you want to write pictures, like you have a CD, okay, and our picture, it is this square tends to a small point like square. So how many pictures you can inscribe here? Infinite pictures. But the reality does not comport in this manner. You see, how many points do you have in a circle? Infinite points. A line has infinite points in a line, because if not, how many? And how do you count them? You see, how many points it is in this segment? You see, if not, you must say that if a point from another point has a dimension, precise dimension, like atoms, like Democrat said. So, but you can have the continuum infinite thinking, because you can know that from 0 to 1 it is infinite. It is an infinite, like in mathematics. I did not invent it, okay? Natural numbers are 1, 2, 3, unbreakable, like, but it's infinite from 0 to 1. 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0. At infinity goes to 1. So it is an infinite, continuum infinite. So if you understand, you correlate with my first video, this is, I have infinite points. So now you can treat that it tends to 0, this square, and to see that the picture tends to 0. It is a undimensional square, it tends to 0. And how many pictures can you inscribe in this CD or mathematical CD? Infinite pictures, you understand? But in reality, does something comports in this manner? Or you have a limited space, you see, like they are trying to say to you that from this many minimalization, the laws of physics breaks down and things like this. I do not understand quantum mechanics and things like this. I've told you. So, but you already have an infinite, so it will be anyhow a discrepancy between reality. Okay, so you have a minimal picture given by some atoms of reality, like in an atomic manner. Undividable means atomos without dimension, without division, without breakable. Okay. But then a computer could not beat you at nothing, because computer is made from a physical manner, from real material that you define in them, that they are finite. Okay, so a picture, a smaller one, a picture is bigger than yours in your head, so your power, computational power, is infinite. Okay, so So you have another thing, like you have another thing, because you put an infinite picture sheet, you diminish this to a point, to a zero, okay, you put it here, so you give the zoom at infinity in the point. You put infinite pictures here, and you put it in infinity here, and then you make another circle, a bigger one than this. Look, like bigger one. You make a bigger circle, like this. So this is bigger than this. Why? And where is it? And where is it? Because you see the dimensionality now in your head is comporting with concepts. This is one and this is one circle, but I did not told you what dimension they are. Only this in this paper you see, compare it, like this is smaller than this. But if I'm telling you that, but this is like maps. But it is like maps. This is Jupiter and this is Earth, like maps from a rapport, like 1 to 10 measure. You see, I made this. It is 1. This is 1. So in your head, the dimensionality somehow does not have sense, and I can put how many things like this I want in my head. Infinite circles. I can describe on them, so there's no computer can. If you want to make a function, a bijective function between this circle and a computer circle, there it is a CD. Physical CD. What it means to bijective function, to take from this, you see, have like you take from this and you inject it in this, you understand that the CD of any computer will not beat you. So it will be left points in your mind that you cannot inject in reality, if you understand, or biject or surject. Okay, like this is the way how you combine the functions. Okay. So now, do you want more crazy stuff? This is from philosophy, many of them. So present in my way. Okay. So now you understand that these are not reducible one to another. They are related. You cannot reduce the implication and. So you have free ends and you obtain implication. It is stupid because you have it, so it is atom of thought, if you understand. It is not reducible. That's why I talked about atoms of thought. And you do not know how many do you have, because it is some proofs in logics that you cannot reduce this to this. Okay, so when you make equivalence, you make equivalency proposition to be equivalencies. Okay, but in this manner they are trying to trick you and to be smart, like somehow they reduce about reductionists. Okay, so they were smart and they reduced them, but if you understand that you cannot. Okay, so how many atoms of thought there exist? You see, there's unity. This is one, I've told you. This is one, this is one, this is one, this is one. Diverse, you see, diversity, infinite diversity, infinite combination of long, prosper, how the Star Trek said. Okay, so one is diverse. How many properties do you have to put them on geometry, to put them this unity, to observe this unity? This is the question. Okay, so another one is causality, another one is the totality. The totality is like, this is a total thing. Totally, man, dude. Okay, by break it is not total. You define it like in a total manner, like not in an ontological perfect totality, like a totality like the universe. Unique verse, unique bullshit, I've told you. There's no unique nothing. The sky is and the earth, the Bible says, because it knows why. And stop lying about this, okay? And you must treat serious the Bible. It is serious, the most advanced science that exists. I can tell you, it is science, okay? Some of it is given by angels to mankind, okay? So it is science, real science, but you do not understand. Okay, so how it is a totality, the universe? You see, this is the ontological argument now. Can you have another one? You can have like two cups, or see, you can have another one, like a totality. So, but it is a totality of totalities, and nothing. This is the ontological argument. If you know, implies that is only one God, like, because if it is missing something, is not a perfect totality. You see, only kind of existence totality, this cup, a universe, another one, and another one. Membranes, touching membrane, yes, touching membrane is black hole at the beginning, okay, touching membranes. Okay, there's another universe and another universe, unique. You see this contradiction, okay? So this totality is missing something. It is not missing something. Now you must connect totalities. How the totalities connect? But if you understand that in metaphysics, if you have a causal relation between one totality and another totality, the totality intersect in that causal interaction. But if from that causal interaction is missing some part, is not the possibility to connect with another part. So can be totalities to have something in common, but not everything. You see, so there's some bridges between universes, and only some matters that they are causal, like that causal connection can pass this. Okay, this. But if you say so some parts do not exist for another part, and you cannot infer what. Because you only have through connections, okay? You have only through connections. Maybe there's some part of connection that allows to see from another universe. Is like, but that part is pushing you in that universe. But then when you have this kind of relation, you have A, like, and you see B from that. But you must traverse through this causality, unique causality in that other part. So this is Anselm's argument of like how like a God exists. So it's somehow, in my opinion, is not correct. But what you can infer is that you can have only one totality of totalities, if you understand, because if there's not going to be any relation between this totality and another totality, and the relation is wonderful, like I say this word like exactly in a synthetic manner, like it is wonderful, is no law, like, if you understand a law, you are understanding like through some step manner, this implies this, and so connection, like continue connect. There is no such thing in nowhere, in mathematics, nowhere, okay? There's no such thing. So it is a wonderful connection between this cup and this when they are touching each other, and you understand. This is the way I'm speaking, like wonderful in this sense. You make a law, like you understand somehow this science bullshit, like science, like no, and you understand that it's a miracle. This space-time objects, but in a miracle way put together in space-time, because they comport like some totalities, the connection between them, you cannot reduce them, not even at infinitum, okay? So this is completing what I've told you in my first video about mathematics, okay? So but let's take in the same manner like in first video to explain to you. So maybe you will watch another part from the video they intersect with, okay? And mathematician, I've told you, like a tribute. The mathematics is great, is like he supposes a mind, if you understand. So all the metaphysics suppose a mind. You are saying that science, but since science is stupid and pushes lives over your eyes, this gravity that is false. And Newton, hypothesis non fingo. Okay, so watch another part. Okay, so now if you want to, I want to retake like from the first video the same way the analysis. Now you have the categories. You understand that you cannot escape. You must have them. They were trying to learn a deductible from reality, and in this the old Lord farts like, and a philosopher like trying to escape this stuff, that this is wonderful, the connection, the intellect, but in a more deep manner than these days. Okay? A shell like, you see this square goes to zero, the Big Bang. So you see this point, when you want to understand, you put all the intellect in it. It is one, it is not missing something, it's identical with itself. It is, you understand, you understand that you suppose all the intellect when you're thinking about it. So now this is a real axiom from Euclid. You see, Lefebvre told you, like, this professor gives you definitions, and from this definition axiom follows this, and they're like a stupid manner. They do not know what a definition is, and it's open and closed definition, and then they put to you like it used to be like 3-4 words to have something to define another and now they're half a page definition like this, and they are pretending that this is the science, they're the science, like 10 definitions, like a full page definition. So what is definition? This is the definition, and the science is the connection between this stupid cretins, imbecile definition. I'm telling you that the school must be abolished. Okay, I'm telling you the truth. You are arrested by demons. Okay, they can find another jobs. These professors, their schools, that they can do another stuff, or okay. So what it says, that through a point, okay, you make a line, and the line is dimensional. You see, because you understand the dimensionality, and I've told you what is the wonder, because how close is the second point to the first one? How close is the second point to the first one? You see, now you understand the continuum and this continuum. If you have 1.1, 1.2, and you see, and like tends to infinity, okay, let's see, like this, plus infinity. Okay, you see, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. You see, you have natural numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, and tends to infinity, like this, plus infinity. Okay, natural numbers, it is not like with minus, because you counted them 1, 2, 3, 4. We see the objects in unity is identical. It always seems to you that it is not correct somehow. Everybody understands this at basic level. 1 plus 1 is not equal to. It is not. And everybody understands this somehow, because you see this is infinite, the infinite. You suppose this kind of infinite reasoning to understand a unity, because I've told you, like, it's the infinite points, like 1.11 if you want to define them. This from 0 to 1 is the infinite, there are infinite points indeed. So already you understand the infinite to understand the unity from 0 to 1, or if you want from 1 to 2, or every unity that you want. Suppose this is like comes back in itself. You understand the whole row, the infinite row, and then comes back to itself and define the unity. from 1 to 2. So you cannot lie to me that it's from some empiric stuff, because this implies all kinds of infinite chains between the eyes of a subject and the object that is to be known. Okay, so now let me tell you what the thought that I began to say. You see, it seems to you that is 1 plus 1 is not 2, because you count 2 do kind of this. Okay, it gives 2. You count two objects that if you are listen closely, you understand why physics is wrong. If you are through the lines, okay, if you understand this, and it could not be that will be correct any time, or any mathematical, pure based mathematical science that describes the world could not be correct, because the world is metaphysical, supposes some objects that are not geometrical and mathematical, like you are lying, okay. So this equation E equals mc squared describes the